appreciate you taking the time to be here, even if it is during your lunch. So please eat your lunch, do whatever you need to do to take care of yourselves, to be prepared to be here. So the way that I titled this was the best practices for sustaining your tier 1 implementation, because a lot of times when we realize as a tier 1 implementation, especially for MTSS-B, as you all call it. I used to tell my staff that MTSS-B kind of eats academics for breakfast. So if we don't put these things in place, a lot of times we will not get the academic outcomes that we want. So next slide. All right, so this is my 21st year. I know I look like I'm 12, but this is my 21st year in education. I am non-traditionally certified, so I was like all about going to medical school, and then I pivoted my senior year in college. So I decided that that's not what I wanted to do after volunteering the entire time. But I have had every single job in the building, from science teacher, instructional coach, assistant principal, district coordinator, district consultant, and now I work for the Regional Educational Service Agency. So the way that it works in Georgia is we have 16 RESAs, we have the State Department of Education, and then there are the RESAs. I work in Metro RESA, which is about 60% of the state's population of students. So that is what I cover here. And as you can see, we've covered all things PBIS, MTSS, school improvement. But my most important jobs as wife and mother of Ava and Ella, who are 4 and 7. So they are a very, very fun bunch. Next slide, please. So on our little roadmap for today, what we're going to talk about is it's kind of a protocol that I used to use with my staff a lot, which was so what, now what, then what, and what are we going to do with it now that we know all what to do? And so a lot of times it becomes very hard to realize how we're going to sustain the work, but we overcomplicate things in education so much. And I think a lot of times if we just stick to the plan and follow the plan and revisit the plan and stick to the plan, we'll be just fine. So we're going to stick to the plan. And so we're going to kind of get us going with a little bit of just background information that I have learned about you all in South Carolina, and then really get us to kind of start thinking about and talking about how we're going to do this work together. All right. So what? We know that we have 12 districts here. We have about 40 schools represented in this work. You all have really been supported by the Clemson team. You've really done a lot of training around the district leadership team, really around database decision-making and your personalized learning model. However, you can sit and get all day long and implement zero. So that is not the goal. And I know the purpose of this ECHO meeting is for you all to realize and get a lot of that coaching for you to be able to support and do this work with fidelity. So it is my hope that at the conclusion of this, you will have some tools that you can add to your toolkit to explicitly do that moving forward. So now what? Then what? You got these quarterly coaches meetings. You got this 1-hour series that you're supposed to pack a lot of information into. But now, again, how do we build content expertise, hold each other accountable, and keep the party going the entire school year? So what are some things, if you all want to just popcorn out, there's only like 23 of us, and I know 3 of us are here kind of facilitated, so it's about 20 of you all. So just come off mute, popcorn out, show me your beautiful faces, and let me know what you think you need to do to build your content expertise and hold each other accountable, because you already started saying that we want to focus on these matrices and we want to maybe talk about teacher buy-in, but what does that really mean?
One of the things that, can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Perfect. One of the things that we realize is that time is very critical and very difficult because priority is academics. I agree with you. Behavior, MTSS-B will eat MTSS-A for breakfast, but ensuring that you have your protective of those meeting times that you designated for MTSS-B to discuss and to grow, to look at data and figure out how you should pivot or if you should pivot.
Yes, thank you so much for sharing and being the brave first person. Anybody else want to share?
I was just going to say being consistent with those meetings and making sure you're staying on top of like what your job was for the team, and then just making sure everybody is doing their job on the team.
Okay, so I hear time, I hear consistency, I do hear accountability. Anybody else? If you don't feel like talking, you're more than happy to put in the chat.
I know for me, I feel like this year, just being honest, I probably probably did most of the work, just because I felt like I was the leader. I wanted to show them that I was buying in. But now I actually had another Title I coordinator today come to me and say, "Hey, I want to get in on bass. Can I join the team?" I was like, "Heck yeah!" So I think that me delegating needs to happen more so that I'm not getting burned out. And so that's a big reflection for me this year.
Thank you so much for saying that. I was hoping somebody's going to say that it's like leading alone, because a
Yeah.
lot of times we get into this MTSS-B work and get very, very hyper focused on what needs to be done and what boxes we need to check to fulfill the necessary requirements to say that we've done it. But at the end of the day, it just ends up being a one man or one woman show. And then that person gets burnt out. And then guess what happens? When they leave, then everything leaves with them. And so the goal is to not do all this work in vain. It is really to do this work so that there is a sustainability plan. And that's what the purpose of this time together today is really about. How are you going to sustain this work long term? And it does require that you do have to create the time, you do have to have the consistency, but you do have to collaborate and you have to do it with others. All right, so now what? We have to eat the elephant one bite at a time. It is so easy to want to eat this MTSS-B elephant whole. You can't. Don't. Stop. If you are, you're going to fail miserably. And that is not the goal, to do all the work to fail. So again, the first thing I said is that the meeting times must be sacred. I cannot reiterate that enough. I don't know how many of you all are the um, administrators for the team, but you hold the keys to the success or failure of this work. And the reason we say that is because we know from so many times there's so many things that get thrown on our plate as administrators, but at the end of the day, we have to prioritize. And if the priority is not for MTSS-B and the work and the time that's required in order for it to be implemented with fidelity, it is not going to happen. So I know this may seem like something you already know and have done, but time is essential. Now, once we get past the time part, we must really think about like, how are we looking at our data consistently to be able to be responsive to the needs of our teachers? We focus so much on students and what students are doing incorrectly, but we have to assess the data to know if it is a student issue or a systems issue first. And if we don't know if it is a student versus a systems issue, if it is a systems issue, that means it's a grown people problem. That's what I used to tell my folks. This is a grown people problem. And so we have to be responsive to that. So we have to be looking at the data monthly in those meetings to be able to do and be responsive to the needs. We have to ask people for what they need. And so that doesn't mean ask people for what they need and then create your own plan. That means ask people for what they need and do what they said. So if they don't want a jeans pass, which most people don't because nobody dresses up for school anymore these days, then don't give them a jeans pass. And the same thing goes for kids. If you're working in a middle or high school or even in upper elementary, kids can tell you what they want and what they don't want. So like, do not create plans for people that they don't want. Ask people for what they need and respond to that. But then you also have to build that content expertise. And when I say build the content expertise, we have to be able to look at the data to know, like we assume so many times that people know how to make database decisions. But a lot of times people look at the data, they don't know what to do with it. They don't know where to start. So we have to help people to be able to look at the data, understand the data, make sure that we are aggregating and disaggregating the data appropriately, and then making some next steps for them to follow. So really being mindful of what that looks like. And then we got to hold each other accountable. We cannot not hold each other accountable. And what I tell folks all the time now is I know post-COVID, attrition is high. Folks are quitting left and right. Education is like the bane of people's existence. But our job is we are the ultimate gatekeepers of everything. And so because we are, then a lot of it is like we have to hold people accountable to do their job. And holding people accountable to do their job is not a bad thing. You can do it and you can be kind at it. And so my folks would always say that I was fair, but I was firm. And so you can be fair and firm because you can be very clear about expectations and what they are, but we can also hold people accountable to that. And so I believe wholeheartedly that when we do that, we also allow people to rise to the challenge. I would highly encourage anyone to read the book, The Multiplier Effect, because the multiplier effect really is all about how to maximize the amount of work product from people on your team. And a lot of it centers around relinquishing control, but also being mindful of not becoming an unintentional diminisher. And so what it really talks about is that if we allow people the autonomy to do the work with guardrails, if we allow people to do the work with guardrails and truly implement, they will go above and beyond probably what you would ask them to do. But when we start micromanaging people and we start telling people what's wrong with what they came up with and all the things, then what you become is an unintentional diminisher. And so then you get less work product from the people that are working for you and working to support you. So we really have to be mindful of these things. And so it's gonna take baby steps. There is no straight path. And so as you can see at the very beginning, the roadmap was very curvy because there will be ebbs and flows, there will be hills and valleys. And so we have to be okay with that. But we just have to just keep running the race and eventually we will get to the outcome that we want. The other part is sustaining your coach engagement. So here are some examples and ways in which you can sustain your coach engagement. So some of my districts do things like monthly coaches meetings. Some of my districts do things of quarterly team meetings where they come and do a data review, where they do a data dig to really understand what it is they're doing, how are they doing it, why are they doing it, and what are the goals that they are utilizing to support that work. We also look at things like instead of having a monthly coaches meetings, 1 month is focused mainly on all the coaches being together collectively to be able to hear from one another. But then there are our months, alternating months, where it's just one-on-one coaches meetings with them and a district partner, or them and a state partner, or them with a technical assistance organization. That way, one, people don't get burned out, but two, it gives people an opportunity to have some individual time, but collective time to be able to hear and learn from one another. Another thing, of course, is the walkthrough feedback with support, because when we give walkthrough feedback, what a couple of my districts, they do like their walkthroughs. We created a Google Doc and we basically put everything in the Google Doc. And so everybody who participates in that Google Doc it's not a Google Doc, it's a Google form. Everybody puts their information into that said Google form, and then it uploads, of course, to a spreadsheet. And then what the district coordinator does is then shares what everyone says about their walkthrough in those one-on-one meetings with the coaches. It is very powerful and impactful because everybody will say, okay, yeah, we're doing this work. We think we're moving on the right track. But then your walkthrough data supports it or doesn't support where you all are. And so we just want to be mindful of the different ways in which we can really look into how we're going to support these coaches, but also keeping them engaged to ensure that they are getting all of their needs met so they aren't feeling burnt out and overwhelmed, but they are really feeling like, okay, I can do this. I can definitely do this. So what I want to do is I want to think about you to think about your team for next year. So now that we've kind of gone through some brief things, we want you to think about a wish for your
Hey,
team
buddy,
or a
would you
goal
put
for
this
your
book up
team.
for me too?
What is a goal or wish for your team? And I want you to take a moment to write it down. To the next one, right? And so determine which is the best goal. Sometimes usually if it's multiple districts on a call, then or multiple teams on a call, then we'll have you look at this. But determine what is the best goal or wish for the team, and then go to the next one. And then you want to state the following: our hope for everyone here is. So what is your hope for either your team, for this collective body? What is the goal that we want to wish everyone for next school year? Because one, we got to finish this school year strong, but then more importantly, what are we going to do for next year that we didn't do this year? All right. So are there any questions? I wanted to give you all a little bit of time to ask and have some follow-up questions. But if you want to go back to the previous slide, they can ask their questions while they're doing their wishing well activity and really think about what they would like to do. And if they have any questions for me around how this work was done, or how we were able to scale it with some of our large districts, because I said our districts range from the smallest district has 10 schools, our largest district has 150 schools. So we have everything in between. So happy to answer any questions for you all.
And I think Jeffrey also shared in the chat his wishing well or well wish for his for this collective group, which is good. That everyone.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. I was just like, yes, I agree with Jeffrey's comment about like every single day, because I know, a lot of this work is hard and it's challenging, but it is day by day. So I used to tell my kids, like, when I taught middle school science, like, you're coming through my door, your face doesn't look right. Let's go through the car wash. The car wash was the door. There was nothing on the door, but the kids loved it. They walked through it and they had a new day. So whatever you had on you before you walked in here, like rinse it off, walking through my door. Anybody else want to share the wishing well or any additional questions you may have? Yes, a positive and consistent learning environment. Yes, learning environment is the key word, learning, where children are learning. Thank you, Sunshine. So Annabelle said, our hope for everyone here is to be consistent and equitable in our practices, considering all stakeholders. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We do want to consider all of our stakeholders. And so a lot of times we have to think about our parents, because they're doing the best that they can. They're sending the best that they have every single day, despite what we may think, but they're doing the best that they can with what they know how to do. So we just have to be mindful of that. Well, I appreciate all of you all's time. I thank you so very much. I know it was super, super quick, but I appreciate it. If you do want to reach out to me or learn a little bit more, I'm happy to answer questions. I'm a zero-sum email person, so I can't stand my inbox being full. So if you want to reach out to me and ask any questions about how we're doing things here in the Metro Atlanta area, please do not hesitate.
Thank you so much, Leah. We really appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
And thank you everyone who participated and provided some feedback for us regarding her questions. We really appreciate you all communicating in the chat as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So in response to Leah's talk, her didactic presentation, we want to make sure that we are giving you all materials to use as you plan an action plan for the school year ahead. We on your resource guide for today, there is an action planning guide included that has some checkpoints that you can be thinking about as you plan for your rollout before the school year starts, and then for each quarter of the school year. So we want to make sure that you all have tools to use to guide you through your work so that you are considering each small step that may be beneficial to your implementation, rollout, fidelity as you move forward with this work. So I wanted to make sure that you all knew that this is going to be a resource for you all. Please use it. You can add things to it. Every school is very unique, so you may have things on there that we have not included. It is yours to edit and change and personalize. So wanted to make sure that you